G'day YouTube, Turbo Tristan here, and in today's video we're going to upgrade to some stainless steel braided brake lines. And we're going to turn your brake lines from scummy like this to this. This is the brake kit that I'll be using. I got this off eBay from safebrake. They're actually here in Victoria, Melbourne, which is great. These are the brake lines. Comes with new bolts, new washers, all braided, banjo fittings, all the right brackets. They're labelled right and left. They come with a new spring clip there in the back for the front. And this one is a disc brake rear end because it's a sedan. So more of a race car than a hatch. And it comes with the same thing, rear right, rear left, the brackets, everything all ready to go. Very, very high quality. It says they're tested at 3,500 PSI for every hose, which is more than we'll ever use. And it even comes with 5 years warranty. I'm sure I'll avoid that because I'll be on the racetrack getting these guys nice and warm. So to upgrade the brake lines on your car, you're going to need a 14mm spanner, 10mm tube spanner, and this one goes almost all the way around, and that's so you don't burr the edge of the nut. You'll need some pointy nose pliers to take off this bad boy here, a flathead screwdriver, a couple of bottles of some high temp performance brake fluid. As I mentioned before, I like to use Newlon. It's a good quality Australian brand, so you'll need at least 2 of those. If you're lucky enough to have some friends, you'll need one of them to help you bleed the brakes. If you don't have any friends, you can use a one-man brake bleeder kit. And lastly, you'll need some brake and parts cleaner. This stuff will help get the brake fluid off anywhere that you've spilt it, and you do need to make sure that you clean that up because brake fluid eats away everything, paint, metal, and it's not good to leave that stuff on your bodywork, so make sure you clean that off. Okay, so what you need to do is undo this nut to remove this off the bracket, undo this 10mm nut here and this 14mm here, and then basically put everything back on the same way you took it off. Really, really simple installation. And then this is the nipple here, and that's what you use to bleed the brakes later, and we'll get to that later on in the video. Also, if I have time, weather permitting, I will try and get these painted red to match here, so that's all finished and looks Mickey Mouse. What you need to do is undo this 10mm bolt here, and there'll also be a bracket where that line bolts on. I'll show you better in the front. And then undo this one here and take that away, and then you just replace the lines. So this is the back one done. Braided line is on. We've got the new washers on the banjo fitting. There's a line going. There's a line going back under there. There's its little bracket where it all bolts onto, so that's not going anywhere. And the new clip supplied is all on. And there we go. Rear one is done. Okay, so it's getting a bit dark. So I've got the light on, but there you go. I've done the other side. Rear brake line, nice and braided, looks good. Got the new fitting with the new washers on there. So that's all mounted all correctly. It's got the little bracket down there, so it all holds into place. And yes, I didn't paint the whole brake caliper and take it off. I just did the bit that you can see from outside. Once we get the car moving, all of this surface rust is going to disappear, but that's going to look great behind the wheels. Alright, so as a comparison, you can see here the 2 front ones. So this is the one off the passenger side, Now this is really soft rubber, which is perfect for a normal car, but when you get to the racetrack, because these are right next to the brakes, and the brakes are, you know, sometimes glowing red hot, probably not on a Honda Civic, but on proper race cars, they're glowing red hot, and then this will then expand under pressure and heat, and there's a chance that your brake pedal will fade much quicker than normal. That also comes down to the disc material and also the pads, but the brake lines are going to give you a very spongy feel if that's expanding under heat and under pressure. So when you hit the brakes, these lines pressurize, and if these are hot, when you hit the brakes, this pipe will expand. You'll cause a loss of feel on the pedal. These ones, not only are they braided, they're much narrower, so it's a more instant pedal, and because they're braided, they won't expand. They're also coated in a rubber material that's clear, so it still looks nice, but it also keeps all the dirt and debris and also moisture off the stainless steel there and off the metal, so it won't rust or deteriorate at all, and it just helps keep everything intact. And these should hopefully mean that we pull up at the end of the straight. There was a Civic at the last track day that I was at that had a turbo kit on it. It was a bit of a sleeper. There's a video that I put on there. It wasn't an interview, it was just 5 minutes talking to a guy that I quickly chopped up and put on my YouTube channel. Ultimate sleeper, B16A VTEC coupe with a turbo, making about 150 kilowatts. He actually ended up boiling his brakes, boiling his brake fluid, and also having a very spongy pedal and not being able to turn the corner at the end of the straight. So I want to avoid that, and that's one of the main reasons why I've upgraded the brake lines. The other one is we're going to be turbocharged. We're going to be doing a lot higher speeds at the track. Although the brakes worked perfectly the last time we were there, I don't want to run any risks at all with my safety. So we're just going to upgrade these. It's one less thing to worry about. Alright, so as you can see, everything's all buttoned up now. Brake lines are back on. This little spring washer's put back on. This is tightened down, this is tightened down, this is tightened down, and it's all put back onto the caliper. I have very rushingly painted this. It's not a perfect job. I didn't pull it apart and mask it all off and all that. I just painted where you could see it. The back isn't done properly, but that'll do for now. But yeah, that was a very quick install video. I haven't bled the brakes yet. I'm not going to do that yet because I've still got a lot of work to do. I've got to clean up. It's getting dark. It's very late. It's very cold. And I'm actually going to start to pull out the gearbox. So that means I've got to pull this caliper off and probably move this area of the car around to get that drive shaft out and slide the gearbox out. So I'm going to do that later. Change the brake fluid, bleed all that. That'll be done. But I think this looks pretty good. It's a great upgrade. Didn't cost too much. These won't expand at the track, which means I'll still have my brakes at the end of the straight at Sandown Raceway. Over to the rears, as you can see, I didn't even bother taking those off. I just sprayed those very carefully on the car. But that's all done. Braided brake lines are done. That's all tightened down. And again, disc brake rear end, Civic sedan for the win. And once again, that was a kit off eBay. Retails for $170. Safebrake performance brake hoses. They make them for every car. They have a 5-year warranty on them, presumably if they're fitted by a professional. I haven't read all the details of the warranty. I'm not too worried about it. I'm pretty sure they'll be fine. They're rated at 3,500 PSI. They are gonna do the job. I've ordered a clutch kit and flywheel and a rear main seal. That should be coming soon, so we're going to do that. We're going to change the gearbox oil, we're going to change the flywheel, change the clutch, and change the rear main seal. The rear main seal I got from Brintec on eBay, online. Those guys, I know them personally. They do sell the cheapest serviceable sundries and replacement parts, filters, air filters, fuel filters, oil seals, gaskets, all that stuff I've gotten from them. So look out for Brintec when you're buying your parts online. Alright guys, as you can see, it's the next day. I'm nice and clean and fresh. Had to let the paint dry on the brake calipers, but it came out awesome. The front ones I took off completely and sprayed them away from the car. The back ones I just did them on the car. Didn't really care too much. But here you can see new copper washers, new braided brake lines. There's where it all bolts up to all the factory brackets. And there we go, back up to the steel hard lines. So we've got steel hard lines, braided steel soft lines, and they move with the wheels, which is great. But that came out awesome. I'll get to work bleeding the brakes later on. I do want to change the clutch and flywheel and rear main seal. Hopefully this weekend if the parts arrive. I managed to get one from America, super cheap, that was made and built and everything in America to hold about 400 horsepower, which this gearbox and engine won't go anywhere near. I think we'll be lucky to see 250 or 300 horsepower at the absolute most. Alright, so that brings us to the end of another video. This one is a short one. We just did a braided brake line install. Very simple. You just need 10mm, a pair of pliers, 12mm, 14mm, and that's pretty much it. It's just remove and replace. So just do everything you do, taking it off in the reverse. This is not an instructional video. This was more of a build vlog and an update. Once again, I got that kit from safebrake Australia. They're located in Melbourne. I didn't know that. I just looked for cheap braided brake lines from eBay, and turns out they were local, so I made sure I definitely grabbed those. In the last video we went over the oil breathers and the catch can install. I just want to say thanks again to the subscriber that reached out to me on Facebook Messenger and offered to pay for the oil catch can and the air temp sensor. It just really means a lot that people are willing to reach out to such a small channel, help it grow by supporting it, for sponsoring certain parts of the build. This particular person was over in United States of America and reached out to me all the way over here down under in Australia. But it really means a lot. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you take your cleaned up finger, click like, click subscribe, click the bells, and see you in the next video.